Okay, so welcome. We concluded our workshop, and we are now heading to the City Council's regular session for April 18th, 2023. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the request for Councilmember Lara to participate virtually for Just Cause, as defined in Government Code 54953. Mr. Lara? We have you on mute. All right.
Let me make sure our audio is good.
There you go.
Okay.
He wasn't able to hear your
Okay.
previous statement.
So, Mr. Lar, we announced that you wish to participate virtually for Just Cause as defined in Government Code 54953.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to request the use of teleconference participation for this meeting due to illness, which falls under the definition of just cause as a requirement. I would like to state that there is no individual over the age of 18 present at my remote location. As indicated earlier, my wife may come home from her school board meeting if our meeting runs long. Just in full disclosure. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So, I'd like to confirm at this time that there is a majority of the council present here in the council chambers. And is there a consensus to proceed with the teleconference participation for Councilmember Lara?
Yes, sir.
And I agree. So, roll call, please.
Councilmember White. Councilmember Law.
Here.
Councilmember Voigt.
I apologize. I jumped the gun.
I know, I did it out of turn. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right, just one more time.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Finn
Here.
and Mayor Martinez.
Here. And I
Thank you.
confirm that Councilmember Voigt and Councilmember Lar are present. All right. With that, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, we are on item B, recognition and proclamations. We do have a proclamation today for the World Wish Day proclamation. And although there is no one present today, they couldn't make it, we will be mailing them their certificate. But I'd like to read the proclamation for World Wish Day. Whereas every 20 minutes a child is diagnosed with a critical illness, and Make-A-Wish Foundation has a mission to grant the wish of every eligible child. And whereas for every wish we grant, there are 3 more children with critical illnesses whose wishes need financial support. And whereas Make-A-Wish Orange County and the Inland Empire celebrates its 40th anniversary of granting over 7,800 wishes to children with critical illnesses in Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. And whereas 95% of Wish alumni felt more hopeful for their future after their wish. We believe that just as they have for the last 40 years in Riverside County, Wish experiences will continue to play a vital role in child's treatment, serve as an encouragement on a family's journey, and provide a source of inspiration for millions of people. And whereas 90% of medical professionals said that they have observed children increasing their compliance with treatment after learning they have and would receive a wish, Wish parents and families see their children's wish as a turning point in their treatment, giving their child strength and sense of empowerment. Medical professionals report that a wish is a necessary part of a child's treatment, and whereas World Wish Day is a national Make-A-Wish event that commemorates 43 years since our first wish and celebrates our mission of creating life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. And now there be it resolved on behalf of the City Council of Beaumont, do hereby proclaim April 29th as the World Wish Day throughout Beaumont. Proclaim this 18th day of April 2023. And with that, we will go to item C, public comment period. Do we have public comment today?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I will open up the public comment at 6:38 PM. Any one person may address the city council on any matter not on this agenda. If you wish to speak, please fill out a public comment form provided at a back table. Give it to the city clerk. There's a 3-minute time limit on public comments. There will be no sharing or passing of time to another person, and the state law does prohibit the city council from discussing or taking action brought up by your comments.
Speaker is Marlene Mejia.
Oh, very good.
Okay, I'm writing this letter to the city of Beaumont to conduct an investigation into the flooding issue. That every time that we have a heavy rain, it's get flooded. Okay, the property is located in Wildwood Avenue. My properties are 1101 and 1105. I bought this property in 2021. And the problem is that the street get flooded about 2 feet up from the sidewalk, and it runs to my driveways, and then go to the back to the property and exit on 11th Street. It's a lot of water. I have a video that I record like the last heavy rain, and I contact Public Works, and I spoke with Robert Pistol, and he mentions to bring this issue, to here, so for a faster solution. Well, I bought this property like 2 years ago, like I said, 2021, and the previous owner, he has the property for like 10 years or more. He mentioned to me that this problem started when they fixed 11th Street. They did some changes, and then the corner specifically get worse. Sorry. I have, because I spoke with him, and he said there is something that is going to be, that includes a lot of work and money. So I decided to collect signatures from all the neighbors that affect from the area. So I have a paper signed by them and requesting, to check it out and try to fix this problem as soon as possible.
Ma'am, can you just tell me again the property at the streets you're talking about?
Wildwood,
Oh, Wellwood.
the
Wellwood and 11th.
yes. The problem is on Wellwood, but it starts on Pearl Street and 11th Street.
Okay, well, we thank you for that comment. We can't take any more further action on that.
Okay.
It's against state law, but we'll have staff address that and
Okay,
maybe discuss it more.
do
Yes,
you
hand
want
it
to?
to the city clerk, assistant clerk, if you would, and she'll give us copies. Is that for us?
Yes, this is for you.
Yeah, you can hand it to the clerk, and they'll make copies for the council.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
What about, are you guys gonna need the video? Just,
We can talk to staff, and we can coordinate that.
okay, thank
Whatever
you.
you have will help. Thank you. Appreciate your comments.
Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
No other comments.
Okay, seeing that, we'll close public comment at 6:42 PM. It brings us to our consent calendar, item D. Are there any requests to pull any items from consent? No? Do we have any public comment on any consent calendar items?
No, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve consent calendar items D1 through D10.
I'll second.
Roll call?
I can check phones.
Councilmember White? Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Councilmember Law?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. With that, that brings us to item E. That's the Youth Council report. Beaumont Youth Council report out. Welcome.
Hi. Okay, so in our last meeting, we began by talking about our service opportunity ideas, and we decided that this Saturday we'd be helping with an Earth Day event at a local park where we just help with activities with the kids and helping with the ladybug release.
Sorry. And then we also made an approval to amend our bylaws to extend our membership to July 31st in order to allow for more participation during summer events and also for more opportunity to discuss goals and objectives for next year.
Very nice. And go ahead and state for the record your name so we can put it on record.
Sorry, Theo Harris.
Leah Moore.
All right, very nice. Okay, so do we have, does that conclude the report?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any questions from council or comments?
I just want to thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to step in your place for this meeting. I left feeling rejuvenated and so excited that we have started this for our city. So I'm very excited. They had just some of the best thoughts, I think, and discussion around their goals and all sorts of other things. So thank you for allowing me to do
You
that.
bet. I told Councilmember Voigt you needed another voice. You were tired of hearing me for a while, so we brought someone else in. But I've heard all good things with the meeting. It went well. It was well attended, so we appreciate that. We're getting close to the end for meetings, that is. So we'll discuss more in May about the summer stuff and then getting stuff ready for next year. But I appreciate all you're doing. Thank you for that proactive jumping right in on Saturday. That's an excellent opportunity to get involved and to coordinate with some of our events we have. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to wear your shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure. And thank you for waiting. I know it was a little longer, but appreciate it. All right, very nice. So with that, item F is the public hearing. Brings us to F1, the public hearing to consider an approval of a third amendment to the city's fiscal year 22-23 through fiscal year 26-27 capital improvement plan. Staff report by Mr. Hart.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, so the item before you is the third amendment to the capital improvement program. It includes both the citywide traffic signal upgrade project as well as the Pennsylvania widening project. Both of the amendments are related to traffic signal upgrades. In November, there's a summary in your council packet of the first amendment, which you saw in November of last year, and the second amendment, which you saw and approved in February of this year. And this third amendment consists of changes to the two different projects. The first one is the citywide traffic signal upgrade project, and this consists of the traffic signal upgrade at First Street and Beaumont Avenue. The city has recently advertised that project, and the lowest responsive bid that we've received for that project exceeds the project budget by approximately $74,000. There is an item to award a construction contract to the lowest responsive bidder later on tonight's agenda, and in order to do so, it's in need of additional funds. The second item pertaining to this same project is a request for funds to install a protected permissive turn signal at Cougar in Beaumont. As you're aware, the east and westbound directions are just solid green, and so there are no protected turning movements. Previously, staff has done a traffic signal warrant analysis, which indicate that it is supported to move forward with the installation of protected permissive turning signal movements. The requested or the estimated amount for that project is $50,000. And then regarding the Pennsylvania widening project, this is also being amended or requesting to be amended to include the installation of a traffic signal at First and Pennsylvania. This project was originally, the traffic impact analysis report for Pennsylvania project, the Pennsylvania widening project, showed that it was warranted due to early budgetary constraints and concerns. Focus on 6th Street and Pennsylvania were prioritized, and staff is now seeking to utilize existing funds from the traffic signal diff to be able to install that now. It makes more sense to be able to do it now to potentially engage the contractor and minimize any disturbance we would have to do if we did it after the project was actually already constructed. There's also an item you'll see tonight for a design and engineering change order to engage our consulting engineer in order to create the required traffic signal plans as well as some modifications to the striping and the actual street plans as well to allow that to happen. And with that, excuse me, it's recommended the city council waive the full reading and approve by title only a resolution of the 5-year capital improvement plan for fiscal years 23 through fiscal year 27. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart. Do we have public comment?
I have no written comments.
Okay, with that, any questions?
I'm sorry, Mayor. Could we still open the public hearing?
Oh, it is a public hearing, thank you. Yes, so we'll open up the public hearing at 6:49 PM, and seeing no public comment.
I'll check with the phone lines. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Okay, and confirm none here in the gallery. We will close at 6:49 PM. And now we'll open it up to council discussion. Mr. Lard, you have a discussion?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Just a couple of quick questions. Mr. Hart, with these additions to our projects and with the supply chain issues we've experienced, will these additional signals that we're adding cause any delays in any of our projects?
Well, I don't know that it would. So we're looking at about a 6 to 8 week order time for procurement of the signal heads for First and Highway 79/Beaumont. We would be looking at about a similar time frame for Cougar and Beaumont. The design has yet to be done for Cougar and Beaumont, so that is a little bit further behind. With regards to the installation for Pennsylvania at First Street, yes, we would be looking at some additional timing delays on that. So ideally, we would be able to get these plans designed, engineered, get the base and infrastructure in so that we are easily ready to accommodate the installation of these signal poles and mast arms when they become available. The design is not yet complete on that. We're still awaiting approval on the change order or not a change order, but a contract amendment for Kimley Horn this evening in order to finalize the design. Once we've got a specific design for those signal arms and poles, we will order those ASAP.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking, my concern would be is that the addition of these two projects, however, I understand that they would save money because you're not re-engineering or you're not pulling out equipment and re-staging it. But I would hate for any of these delays to increase the contract cost beyond what we originally set up to do. That makes sense, I hope.
Yes, it does. So for Pennsylvania and First Street, it will certainly increase the contract cost because this was not part of the original scope of work. But certainly there's a need, and it makes more sense to be able to get in now rather than the post completion of that project.
Right, but I mean, outside of those additional costs to do the additional work, I don't want to, the delays to increase the cost on what was previously approved.
Right, and that's not anticipated. So, I think identifying this early on, that we're still at an early enough stage where we can coordinate with work that's being done and will be done and have very little to no impact to the Pennsylvania widening project.
Perfect, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you very much, Mr. Hart.
I want to thank you for the Cougar way, because, many a phone call I received about that for many years. And it's difficult. I, don't live too far from there, and it can be a challenge.
That item actually came up when we all met with the school district a few weeks ago, and so.
That was my next question, did that discussion help you lead to this? So I appreciate that proactive approach and working with the district on that. So thank you for that. All right, seeing none, let's see the recommended action. Do we have a motion?
Sure. I can make a motion to waive the full reading and approve by title only resolution of the City Council of Beaumont amending the 5-year capital improvement plan for fiscal years 22-23 through 26-27.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. Right, with that, we will go to item G, action items. Item G1 is fiscal year 22-23 capital improvement project budget amendment.
So Mayor, this is in line with the public hearing that you just held and approved the amendment to the capital improvement plan. What we need to do now is a budget amendment. So it's all the same information, but we do need to add it to the budget. And so we are recommending that council approve the recommended budget adjustments as provided in the attachment.
Very well. Right, do we have public comment on G1?
I have no written comments. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Right. Seeing that this is an extension of the public hearing, does anyone have any further questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the recommended budget adjustments as provided in attachment A.
I'll second that.
Do we need a vote on it? Okay. Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. And with that, item G2, award a public works agreement to Elknar Belco Electric, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $203,888 for the construction of the citywide traffic signal upgrade at First Street and Beaumont Avenue, capital improvement project number R13. I think I might have slaughtered that name. Please correct. Apologize. Staff report, Mr. Hart?
Yeah, so this, just to follow up on the previous item, is this item is a recommendation to award a construction contract to install the traffic signals at First and Highway 79. So bids were received. Elknar Belco was the apparent low and most responsive. Both staff and the city attorney reviewed the contract and confirmed that it's the lowest and responsive bid. So the previous item allows the funds for this, which would allow us to authorize a contract. We are anticipating or targeting, should approval be obtained, that we would look for a pre-construction meeting in the next few weeks. And then we've already had discussions with the contractor about the procurement, as Councilmember Lara had stated. So the procurement of the equipment itself, we're anticipating right now approximately 8 weeks. Once we have a definitive procurement schedule, we can issue a notice to proceed that's fair with the acquisition of those. So there's in your staff report, there's a project accounting summary, including the funding summary as well as a budget summary. And with that, staff is recommending that council award a construction contract to Elknar for $203,888, as well as authorize the city manager to sign change orders up to an additional $20,512.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Public comment on G2.
I have no written comments. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Right, with that, council discussion or questions, or I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we award a public works agreement to Elknar Belco Electric, Inc. for the construction of the citywide traffic signal upgrade at First Street and Beaumont Avenue in the amount not to exceed $203,888, and authorize the city manager to sign change orders up to an additional $20,512 for a total construction amount of $224,400.
I'll second.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. Brings us to item G3, Fourth Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Kimley Horn for the Pennsylvania Avenue Widening Project, CIP 2017-009, in an amount not to exceed $60,940. Staff report, Mr. Hart.
Okay, last one. So, also discussed in the CIP amendment we just recently approved was in order to to facilitate and actually, follow through with the construction or installation of traffic signal at Pennsylvania and First is we need to engage the engineer of record, the consulting engineer for this project to develop traffic signal plans. Accompanied with that will be some updated signing and striping, as well as there will need to be some additional technical specifications added to the contract documents in order to implement this change. And so Kimley Horn has provided the scope and fee to provide these services at a not-to-exceed amount of $60,940. There is a budget summary. There's a project accounting in your staff report, which has a budget summary and a funding summary. It also has a kind of running total here for the contract amendments we've had from Kimley Horn to date. And with that, staff is recommending that council approve the Fourth Amendment to the professional services agreement with Kimley Horn in an amount not to exceed $60,940.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hart. Public comment for G3?
I have no written comments. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, with that, any discussion, questions from council? Mr. Lara, you're good.
If nobody has a question, I'll make a motion.
Okay, I don't see any, so proceed.
I'll make a motion to approve the Fourth Amendment to the professional services agreement with Kimley Horn for the Pennsylvania Avenue widening project in an amount not to exceed $60,940.
I'll second.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Fenn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. All right, brings us to G4, the mayoral appointment of liaisons to the Beaumont Library District and Cherry Festival Association.
Mayor and council, this was at the request of council to assign liaisons to be representatives at Beaumont Library District meetings as well as Cherry Festival Association meetings.
All right, thank you for that. I've been contacted by Mr. Dickinson from the Library District wanting to promote city and library relationships, enhance it, and it's just an awesome idea. And I met with them again at one of the functions that I attended, and he continued to let us know that they really want to partner on behalf of the library board. So I thought it'd be a great idea to have a liaison from the city to coordinate, and it would be similar to the other positions we have. On your staff report, it shows that the trustees meet on the fourth Thursday of each month at 6:30. And this is not necessarily where you have to attend every meeting. This is, obviously you're welcome to, but what we're looking for is more of a contact person, someone that can coordinate with Mr. Dickinson. They want to take a council on a tour of the library. So that would, be one of the first things we do is have that discussion, coordinate with that. And then as the city does further investigation into different types of grants and so forth, he requests that we also, consider the library as a part of that. But we can invite trustees along with us from time to time and share information to help them achieve some of their goals as well. So with that, I'll first ask council if anyone's interested in this. If not, then I am willing to sit on this on behalf of the council, but I would open it up to council if anyone has interest. And if not, then I would appoint myself if council is fine with that. Do we have any objections to the mayor being liaison, or do we have someone else who would like to volunteer?
We're just looking for one position, correct?
Yes, just one
Okay.
position.
I would support your volunteerism.
Okay, so I'll inform Mr. Dickinson that I am the liaison, and we'll continue our discussions as we have. So thank you for that. The next one is the Cherry Festival. Now, the Cherry Festival Association is a little different because this one, they have meetings, but as we get closer to the festival, it definitely increases in frequency. So you can see here, they meet at the first Wednesday of each month at 5:30. I believe Chatney Center is where they're meeting. And of course, May is a very frequent month, so it's a weekly meeting at least, I'm sure. And what we want here is we want someone that's in the festival, attending the Festival Association meetings and being that very direct liaison between city information and festival information. as the festival starts to do audits and so forth as well, that contact person or liaison is going to be even more important to relay information and perhaps bring back information to the city or work with city staff to make sure that things are going smoothly and so forth. So I'll open up for any requests on that one. And Mr. Laura, I will ask you if you would consider that. I know you're a busy man, so, no pressure, but I know you were working with the Festival Association, and I'm not sure to what extent or where you are at that point on that. Can you comment on that?
Mayor, sure. If there are no other interested council members, I'd be happy to go ahead and do that for you.
Does that conflict with
Yeah,
any
that's
of
it.
your other meetings, Wednesday? That's the first Wednesday of the month?
No, the first Wednesday, I don't believe there's a conflict there. I'll double check. I know I have a first Monday of the month.
And EDC's when? Second, okay, so second, so we're good on that.
And I have the fourth Thursday, so I think that will work.
Okay. All right, then, so are we in agreement? All right, then I will say thank you very much for being the liaison for the city, on behalf of the city, for the Cherry Festival Association. And we'll coordinate with staff, and I'm sure you've already been talking to them, so you know.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I do want to mention, though, that I want to make sure we are focusing on that audit, because I know they're doing very well and coming along really greatly with that, so we appreciate that. So if you can extend that for us on behalf of the council, we appreciate their efforts for that request of the audit.
Mayor,
Understood. Good, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
I
Yes.
can add in if either of you need somebody to fill in. I would be happy to go as an alternate for
Okay,
either of
so
you
let's-
if need be.
Oh,
Let's make that on the record, so we'll have Councilmember Voigt be alternates to both of those liaisons. I appreciate that. Gives us flexibility.
yes. Thank you very much,
And-
Councilmember Voigt.
Yes.
If I can just jump in and give the two of you a big thank you, because this time of year is a busy time for me. So I appreciate the help with that.
Great. Right, very well. Okay, so we have that settled, and that is given direction to city clerk. So brings us to G5, to consider the approval of the First Amendment and restated city manager employment agreement.
Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself on this item because it is my contract with the city and affects me financially.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor and
Okay.
Council. You have before you a staff report and a First Amendment and restated city manager employment contract. This is the anniversary of her one-year appointment as city manager. The results of the negotiations are reflected in the attached. Substantive changes include a base salary increase of $11,627 annually, a one-time bonus, and a hard termination date. The previous contract just said shall not exceed, it was just a 3-year contract, didn't have an actual expiration or termination date in it. So that now has that. So the fiscal impact to the remainder of the fiscal year is approximately $8,657. Be happy to answer any questions. I know this was negotiated between her labor negotiators and the city attorney. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you for that, and I want to thank Councilmember Voigt and Mayor Pro Tem Fenn. They were the city designees for that negotiation, so thank you for that, and we appreciate all the work you did for us on behalf of the city. So if there are first any public comments for G5?
I have no written comments. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Okay, and with that, do we have any discussion, questions, or I'll go ahead and entertain a motion?
I can make a motion to approve the First Amendment and restated city manager employment agreement.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. Great. Okay, so as she's coming in, we'll progress to on G6, the approval of the city attorney invoices for the month of March 2023.
And because that involves my law firm, I'm recusing myself.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, this month's invoices total $118,448.10. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any comments for, public comment for G6?
I have no written comments. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Okay, seeing none, questions, discussion from council, or entertain a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the invoice for $118,448.10.
Well, second.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Councilmember Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Finn,
Yes.
Mayor Martinez.
Yes. Great, and with that, we will proceed to item H, legislative updates and discussion. Ms. Taylor, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we did have a eventful trip up to Sacramento. I will defer to council to report out on that. And I will cover, if you don't mind, just a couple of bills that are potentially impactful to the city here. So we have AB 1000 by Assemblymember Reyes, and that one pertains to the 1,000-foot buffer between any logistics, warehouse distribution uses, and sensitive receptors. This would be a mandate. We, as the city, of course, have addressed this in our plus policy, and the approach that the majority speaker is taking is definitely more of a one-size-fits-all state level, speaking down as opposed to allowing local control. AB 1748 by Ramos is a similar but competing bill. What that does is that would technically have somewhat of a same effect, except instead of a 1,000-foot buffer, it is a 300-foot buffer. And this comes out of some negotiation that occurred between the city of Fontana and a project that was approved there and the state attorney general's office. So anyway, these bills are significant and have the ability to impact the city. So if council is okay with this, I would like to bring back an item at the May 2nd council meeting for a formal discussion and taking a position on either one or both of these bills so that we can submit our formal position to both the authors of the bill as well as our representatives and Cal Cities.
Okay, you have more in your report before I comment on that?
I just have one follow-up to a bill that Chief had brought up on his last report, and that is AB 742 by Jackson, and that is the bill referring to the use of canines by police forces. And so that bill is still is still alive. It's in committee. It's been referred to appropriation. So I just wanted to let you know that it's still out there and we're monitoring. But that does conclude my report this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, yeah, my first question, it's not a debate or discussion, but since you're reporting out on AB 1000, a lot of people are calling that a moratorium bill. And can you comment on that word and what, if any, is covered in that bill?
Yeah, so a 1,000-foot buffer is pretty extensive. So it's being referred to as a moratorium bill because essentially it would almost stop development in most places throughout the Inland Empire. If you think of the area in the very southwest part of town where we have our industrial located, we are across the 60 freeway, adjacent the Badlands, up, where Potrero is, and that crosses a huge amount of space, and it's still slightly under 1,000 feet from some of the existing warehouses. And so even though it's a natural break in the geography and the topography of the city, and it's from our perspective, an appropriate location removed from residential areas, it would still impact our ability to approve projects in that location. Many other cities don't have that fortunate location separation like we do. They're built out more than we are, or they don't have the geographical breaks like we do. And so I think it would impact cities like ours potentially even more. So I think that's where that is coming from.
So you can confirm that there's no wording in there that says stop warehouse or no warehouse?
No. So the wording speaks to expansion of an existing warehouse, and that buffer is 750 feet, and then construction of a new warehouse is at 1,000 feet. So, yeah.
So this is one of those things where, so the league is pushing for support, not support, but to protest the AB 1000.
Yeah, League has requested cities weigh in on both bills, either way.
So my concern is this. We have a plus policy that we've given to legislators and so forth that we'll talk about that has that buffer in there with possible mitigation to lessen that. And it's been the council's direction to take up those positions from league and support or oppose those that we think lose city control or, against that. The problem with this is it brings up the connotation of warehouses again. And, I'm comfortable with what our city already has down on the plus policy. So I think if we take a position, we need to be careful to make sure that we market it well, because I don't know how the public's gonna perceive this. And I'm afraid that we're gonna send the wrong perception out. So I'm just trying to get ahead of something that can, get out of hand unless we market it well to make sure that they understand what it is about and why we're taking a position. So I'm welcome to have the conversation, of course. I'm not gonna stifle that. But personally, this is one of the bills where I wouldn't vote for any position on this one. That's my personal preference on this. Is this just one of those things that gets the public a little bit more divided for no reason? Because we have already the policy and we already have a direction here. So by taking a position or not taking a position, I think you're gonna polarize more, and I don't think it's necessary for our community. So if it were more of something that was more general and I didn't see a polarizing part of the community, then I might take, yes, yay or nay on it. But for this one, I'm not sure if this is one of those bills, either one of them, Ramos or Ray's bill, that we should take a position on, only for that reason. But that's just my comment, and of course, what you're asking us is to bring them back for further discussion. So let's take that at this point. So would you like to discuss more to oppose or support the bill? I said, if you want to talk more about it in detail, then let's bring it back and discuss it. So, so I have no opposition to that. I'm just telling you where I'm going already, so. So comment, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I appreciate your sentiment on that, because I do feel fairly similarly in that I feel like our plus program, is allowing us control, I think, which is I would like to continue and what I want to keep going. And so I think that the suggestion of, marketing it or being very clear that, if we were to oppose something like that, it's in opposition that we are allowed to create what is best for our city. And that would be, just my kind of thoughts on that. So we can bring it back for further discussion.
Okay. So, Mayor Pro Tem.
We do have one missing.
Yeah, we do have one missing, so I'd love to hear Mr. White's comments.
Sorry.
It was a little bit enlightening for me going to Sacramento and hearing from a very experienced Senator Roth. He took some extra time with us and so forth, and if I understood him correctly, he was pushing towards local control on things like that. And I think with our plus policy, it was well received. And I think even though we're a little fish out there, we're kind of leading the way. We're ahead of the pack And so I'd be okay with discussing it more. I certainly like the idea of keeping it local control and kind of raising our own banner to say, hey, look what Beaumont did, and so forth. So that's my thoughts on the matter at the moment, so.
All right. Councilmember Lara?
Yeah, Mayor, no, I think additional discussion would definitely be beneficial. Yeah, local control is very important to me, and I think Sacramento they keep going back to the well of getting involved with our local zoning laws, and that would be my opposition, is to have them stay out of our local zoning altogether. So yeah, a discussion would be great, and that would give Councilmember White an opportunity to weigh in as well.
Very well. So that gives you consensus. All right. With that, item I, economic development update.
So Economic Development Committee was last week on Wednesday. There was not a quorum of attendees. However, staff did present an item on updating the incentive program to include some assistance for those that would need to add fire sprinklers or some modification like that for the targeted uses that we have in the incentive programs. And also discussed a modification of parking requirements for the downtown area. As we know, that has been an ongoing issue for years. And now with the expansion of uses and the attraction of new uses, many of our small parcels already don't have enough parking. We can't force someone to grow a parcel. So staff is looking at some ways to work with that until we update our zoning code. And that was received well by EDC. However, because there wasn't a quorum, there was not a formal recommendation to council at this time. So staff will be bringing something formally to council to discuss the direction we would like to go on that, the parking modifications. And that concludes my report.
Ms. Taylor, what is quorum on EDC? What number?
Is it
More or
seven now? And I think there were
Seven's quorum.
6 members that were there, so.
And the whole committee consists of, what, 7, 14, 15? No, the other way, 13.
I think it's 16, but or 15 and a non-voting member, something like that.
Yeah, I think it, I'd have to look, but I think it's 13 plus.
And
Or
do you-
non-voting, there we go, yeah, that would
And
make
do
sense.
you have
on
a
that.
policy where you ask the members to confirm or not confirm their presence to see if there is a quorum ahead of time, or
Yes, I received multiple emails just before the meeting
just before? the
started.
meeting? Okay. The only reason I ask is because I'm not sure, and you can comment, whether if there is no quorum, if we can save staff time, then I think it would be better for everyone if we were to cancel the meeting so that staff can do other issues and not, preach to 6 people and miss the other ones there. I know it's difficult when they do it that close, but, I don't know. That's just something to think about. I don't, you guys can just, you're not on EDC, are you? You're finance. You're on EDC, Mr. Blar. Do you think that would help if we try to get people to let us know a little bit more ahead of time if they're coming or not, so that we can cancel the meeting and save staff time?
Sure. I think that would be beneficial and make better use of staff time.
That's what I'm thinking, and it's a great presentation, it was well done, but, I think you guys would rather be doing something, that you could be doing. So that's my suggestion. If you could take that back and maybe talk to your members about trying to be more diligent on the time if they can. I know things pop up, but it would really save on staff time, I think, would be more efficient.
Appreciate that. I'll work with the deputy city clerk on maybe a way to communicate better with the committee members ahead of time.
And of course, the same goes for finance and audit as well. So. Okay, so, what are we at? City Treasurer Report, item J.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a couple points from the budget meeting. As far as third quarter goes, our investment reports came back. As you guys know, that interest rates and yields are obviously rising. So our returns on our investments for the next quarter are going to be higher than what they were after being repositioned. Third quarter budget was also discussed, general funds, wastewater funds. They're all most likely going to fall within budget. So third quarter should be good on that as well. Finance manuals were reviewed. I believe they were passed on to City Council for approval. Also went over the general fund for long-term forecast, looking at a soft recession maybe in 24, 25, taking into account decline in sales revenue, sales tax revenue. I think that's something that we kind of adjusted as far as where we should go budget-wise for those years. There's a mix output out there that some are predicting maybe end of 23, 24, but I believe for our instance, for budget-wise, 24, 25 is where we'll see maybe some decline in city revenue, which we will look at and take into effect from there. Thank you.
All right, appreciate that. And with that, item K, City Clerk.
We're fine, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Item L, City Attorney Report.
Yes, I give my monthly report on the 4th.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Item M, City Manager Report.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to point out and apologize, the list of future items at City Council that we had started at the last meeting. We were surprised that it wasn't there. We're working on the software, with the software company, on bringing that back. This past weekend, AYSO held their Cherry Cup tournament. There were approximately 100 teams. It was very successful. May 3rd, mark your calendars, May 3rd at 2:30. The Three Rings Ranch Playground will hold a ribbon cutting. We've coordinated with Three Rings Ranch Elementary School to ensure that we have the most amount of public available as possible. And this Saturday, as you heard earlier, the Ladybug release will be at 4 p.m. at Nicholas Park. And then I also want to remind the public that City Council will be traveling to Washington, D.C. next week with myself and the Deputy City Manager and the Public Works Director to lobby for money to bring back to Beaumont to get these infrastructure projects funded and built. And with that, that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. With that, I had a question on that Three Rings. Well, I guess, do we have a sign that says no skateboarding on there, or is it necessary for that?
Skateboarding on the equipment?
Yeah. Only because I teach 200 teenagers, and some pictures came across on phones that skateboards shouldn't have been where they were supposed to be. And I questioned them on, well, there's no sign out there, Martinez, so we can do it. And it's like, really, can you? Just an idea, so now I can go back and say, ha. Oh, I told them I was going to, so. Okay, with that, future agenda items. So do we have any new agenda items or any discussion or questions on the ones that are listed? Here, none here. Mr. Lara? You're good? Okay, with that, it brings us to O, council reports. Mr. White's absent. Councilor Voigt, can you go?
Sure, absolutely. I was able to attend my first Finance and Audit Committee. Thank you, Councilmember Finn, for helping me along the way. Very informative meeting. We restructured the meeting. Vanderpool is the chair. I'm going to use your notes there. And Sierra is going to be our vice chair. They both offered up to do that. So I thought that was great to have a member of the communities do that. And then, as you guys also saw today, we reviewed fiscal year 23, 24 projections. I also attended the Calamasa Chamber Breakfast. This was my first time attending for Calamasa. And the speaker was Chad Bianco. It was nice to chat with one of their council members while we were there as well. And so a good little networking opportunity. And then, as mentioned before, I was lucky enough to participate in the student council. One thing that they didn't mention that I just thought was excellent to highlight is their goal, or one that was discussed, is to enhance their social media presence. To get the word out about what they are doing. So I liked the use of social media. I think it goes along lines with our PIO that we kind of discussed today, and what the city itself has been moving towards. And we also encouraged them to kind of do a city snippet like we do of our council meetings. that we could post up as well. So I thought those were great suggestions, and they are excited to network with some of the other clubs that they have on campus. And lastly, I attended the Beaumont Cherry Valley Parks District meeting. They gave a great presentation by a new organization called Protect the Game. And it's where they are training and then hoping to employ veterans to be referees or umpires in local sports. So I thought it was a great opportunity to engage some of our veterans agencies, and they did have some represented in their audience that day. So I do think that there's some interest and, you know, a way to impact our students and children that are playing locally. So I thought that was great. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Lara?
Thank you, Mayor. I was ill this week, so unfortunately I was unable to attend the EDC, so I have nothing to report, sir.
Appreciate that. Get well, sir. Mayor
Yes,
Pro
and thank you for allowing me to attend
Oh, yes.
via Zoom.
You bet. Thank you for
Appreciate your
participating.
patience.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you. So just one further comment to add about the Finance and Audit Committee meeting is we did narrow down our subcommittees. Some of those were ad hoc and the mission accomplished on some of those, and other ones we just restructured and made new committee member assignments to those. I also attended the Transportation Now Committee meeting on the 6th. We had a representative from MetroLink that is now going to be joining us there. And they talked about MetroLink wanting to expand their San Bernardino line. MetroLink does not run out to the pass area, but Beaumont Transit is working to continue to improve routes to Redlands to make those connections. So if we can't fill it with a train, we can fill it with a bus to a train. We also talked about the push, I'd say in a larger area with, you know, trains running through here, passenger trains, so forth, the train from LA to Coachella Valley and so forth. So we're going to try with an effort to try to find out who owns the rails and so forth with a mapping of that and further educate that group. And then maybe work it up the ladder in terms of support for, you know, more public transit on trains through Southern California. They also talked a little bit about apps that are used to help citizens find bus routes and so forth. So we're improving on that. So I think that's heading in the right direction. Also, as stated, I attended our city visit to Sacramento, and I'll just give a very short thing of who we met with, and then what I'd like to recommend is so we met with Senator Bogue, Senator Roth. We also met with the Division of Water Rights, Assemblymember Wallace, and we had a meeting with Caltrans. All I think were very successful, very well planned out. We had their attention. They were paying attention to us, and I think that it went well. We have a summary of our Sacramento visit that was drafted by our Deputy City Manager, Ms. Taylor, that was sent out to each of the council members. And what I think would be a good idea is have this put or brought back as a staff report. And then that way we can show the public and have a permanent record of what was done. And so we put, in my opinion, we put the city's money to very good use. And I think this report would cover it. So whether it come in just as a consent calendar item as that report to filter through, or we could do it as an opportunity to discuss it further. But don't want to take anything away from our mayor, because I'm sure you'll have something to add to that as well. But if we were to do that, and then maybe we can set the stage then for our DC visit and use that same format to report back to the public in that format. So that's my report.
Very well done. So that report, when it comes out, will give us more of the details and specifics. That's a great idea. Okay. So I attended the mayor breakfast with the supervisor's chief of staff, Jaime Hurtado, and we had a good conversation, and also a good conversation with Calamesa's mayor was there. Unfortunately, banning no electeds were there, but the city manager, Doug Schultz, was there and had a great talk with him, and city manager Ms. Gibbs was present with me. It was a good time. It was a good talk. We had a good talk about city issues between the three, And Mr. Hurtado came in and, of course, gave us some of the things from the county side that we discussed, and it was a productive meeting. So the next meeting's planned in May. I may not be at that meeting because I have SCAG, so we can talk to see if someone might want to be in my place on that. The supervisor is supposed to be present at that meeting, but we'll discuss that more and we'll coordinate with Nicole on that. So the Sacramento trip was very productive, and I know there are people that are concerned about the price and so forth, about taking staff up. But, you know, we're in a world where communication is so important. The communication is more than just a letter, email, a Zoom. Talking with senators and talking with people in these different types of agencies is something that really goes a long way. This is the first time, I've gone to Sacramento a few times in the past. This is the first time that the actual senators and assembly members were there. And that's a pretty big thing. They gave us their time. Senator Roth went over and above, in my opinion. And for Senator Roth, he's not, of course, our representative, but we were representing the League of Cities. So we were asked to do that on behalf of the league. So we went in and talked to the senator about league issues. And we had the mayor from Moreno Valley there, and he took the conversation a little further with, because he is represented by Senator Roth. But we got some valuable information, and it was just a very important time to have a discourse between electeds and the electeds of the area about issues. As far as Caltrans and the Division of Water Rights, having time with people in those departments is immensely valuable. They understand better what we're looking for. We understand better what they're looking for. And that communication really helps when it comes to projects and things that we're doing in order to further those. So I know the public says, well, you know, why do you have to send everybody there? But really, when you talk to the people, and everybody got a little something out of it differently, you know, and everybody contributes something a little differently. So you had Thaxton Van Bell was there that did an awesome job when it came to the Division of Water Rights with very technical questions, but also getting insight on what we can do further when it comes to our water issues. And we all got insight from our questions that we asked. So that's why you send teams. Just one person's good, yeah, but a team gets that ability to discuss and to have that conversation and to get the conversation going and getting input from all sides. So I just want to tell the public that it is something that really is beneficial. It's something that's being, you know, more important as time goes. We're in competition. There's a lot of cities around. Everybody wants funds. Everybody wants airtime and talk time. But when you're there, the water rights were very, very nice people, and they really knew their stuff, and they opened up to questions, and we really felt comfortable leaving that we knew things better than when we went in. And they felt that they helped us, so they understand what to expect when we go back with what we need to request from them. So I just wanted to put that little spin on it as well, because it was a very valuable time, and I'm looking forward to Washington because it takes it to another level, again, with these agencies like the railroad and so forth, that we can, yeah, you can have their reps here and you can talk and have phone calls, but when you're at a level where you're actually getting people of more authority that make more decisions, I think we get more value out of it. So that's my spin on that. Any comments on that before we close up?
Thank you for going.
Good? Oh, that's all right. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. And with that, I believe that's it. We will conclude and adjourn at 7:37 p.m. Thank you.